Selecting an evidence-based program. Can a program be harmful? Not all programs that exist are actually effective, and in fact, some have been proven to actually be harmful. It's important to be aware of these realities and to ensure that harmful, ineffective, and discouraged approaches are not being used in your community. By avoiding these approaches, we can ensure the greatest likelihood of improved youth, family, and community outcomes and taxpayer cost savings. Decades of research have identified certain programs and program types that have actually been harmful to youth. Although they were surely well-meaning, these programs included components not based on key principles of positive development or prevention science. As a result, youth who participated in these programs wound up being at increased risk for delinquency and substance use after participating in the program. In research terminology, a program is said to have iatrogenic effects when it has done harm. Other programs have been well studied and shown to not have an impact on the youth that participated. Lastly, some programs have not been well studied, but have content and characteristics similar to ineffective and harmful programs, and their use is discouraged. Here, I will very briefly cover findings from a few important studies that demonstrated programs had caused harm or were not effective. I hope they will convince you that some programs can in fact be harmful and not worth investing in. This slide depicts results of a meta-analysis conducted by Dr. Mark Lipsey at Vanderbilt University. In analyzing the results of over 500 studies on delinquency prevention, programs that were characterized as being control-oriented were more likely to increase recidivism than other types of programs. Control-oriented programs are focused on instilling disciplines such as boot camp-style programs. Juveniles in these types of programs had a nearly 10% increase in recidivism compared to youth receiving therapeutically oriented programs. Here we have another example, the result of 25 years of juvenile awareness programs from 1967 to 1992. Juvenile awareness programs are better known as scared straight types of programs. These programs attempt to use quote-unquote real scenarios to scare kids out of engaging in problem behaviors or else face the dire consequences. In each of these 8 studies, youth exposed to the awareness program had greater recidivism outcomes than youth who did not participate in the program. In some cases, the differences were pretty small, almost negligible effects. Those might be the lucky kids, but still, do we want programs that make no difference? Or worse, send kids back into the system? Here's our last example, and this one comes from Pennsylvania. This shows the results of the widespread use of the DARE program across the state. DARE was very popular across the country, in part because of its novel use of police officers to deliver the program. Officers talked with youth about using substances and the issues the officers encounter in the field with substance users. Although it's possible that the program had good effects in terms of youth perception of law enforcement personnel, the actual DARE program youth looked about the same as youth who did not participate in any substance use prevention curriculum, and both of those groups fared worse than youth who received some other type of prevention program alone or in combination with DARE. As you can see, decades of research have shown us that some types of programs are just not effective and in some cases cause real harm to youth. Characteristics of the most harmful programs are shown here first. Programs that expose youth to scary reenactments of death and arrest scenes, or to people suffering or recovering from serious problems, and real-life testimonies are unlikely to prevent youth risk, although these can be effective strategies for preventing adult risk. We call these danger and deterrence programs, and these kinds of strategies are also known as scare tactics for obvious reasons. Typically, programs such as these focus a disproportionate amount of program content on instilling fear in participants and not nearly enough time helping them to develop the right knowledge, attitudes, and skills to actually prevent risk. The other strategies shown here are unlikely to cause harm, but are also unlikely to create lasting protection for youth. One of the main reasons that danger and deterrence programs are unlikely to prevent youth risk has to do with the development of the youth brain. This picture shows the development of 2 parts of the young brain. The red line is the part of the brain that's interested in risk-taking, novelty, sensation-seeking, and social rewards. The blue line is the part of the brain responsible for making thoughtful decisions, for calculating risk, and for planning for the future. As you can see, the risk-seeking part of the brain is growing much faster and stronger than the planful part of the brain. So when we expose youth to scare tactics, we run the risk of exposing them to something novel and risky without being able to rely on the part of the brain that tells them that those risks aren't a good idea. If you'd like more information on this and other reasons why scare tactics aren't effective for preventing youth risk, check out this pamphlet. You can find it on the Drug-Free Action Alliance website or email Liz Culling at the Epicenter, and she will send you up to 5 copies for free because we think this is a really excellent resource for communities to have on hand. To recap, some program approaches have been proven in rigorous research to be ineffective and harmful. Avoid these programs to ensure you are doing no harm to those you intend to help.